Bookcase and Coffee presents Buzzing About Romance, a quick shot of romance.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Buzzing About Romance, quick shot of romance. Today, for November, we are talking families, whether it be found family, DNA family, or the untraditional family. And today, I am joined by Heather, who you can find on Instagram as Minnesota Hockey Mom Reads, and we are reviewing, by no surprise, a hockey romance, Only One Regret by Natasha Madison. And this is book 5 in her Only One hockey series. Welcome back to the podcast, Heather.
Thanks for having me, Leah. I'm so excited to talk about this book.
Do you want to go ahead and read the synopsis from Goodreads?
I do. Okay. From USA Bestseller Natasha Madison comes a brand new hockey series, The Only One. Cooper. My name came with big skates to fill. At the top of my game, I had everything I wanted, or so I thought. Being traded to Dallas was not what I was expecting, but neither were the divorce papers I was served. Now I'm a single dad in a city that isn't my home. Erika handed my biggest client when I was 22 and made my dreams come true. Over time, our work relationship changed and we grew closer, leaning on each other for support. He was my rock, my best friend. Then one drunken night changed everything, and I saw what was in front of me all along. I just hope that when the dust settles, we won't regret it.
Okay, so this book was released October 19th, 2021. So it's new. It's pretty, like it just came out, and the tropes are sports romance, hockey, friends to lovers, single dad. And the put out percentage for this one is 36%. And let me tell you, the tequila is strong and prevalent.
Heck yeah. So this book has been heavily anticipated by hockey romance lovers, fans of Natasha Madison. I think right now it's the #1 bestseller in sports ebooks. I mean, like, it is a huge hit.
It is, but it is worthy and deserving of it because she writes the crap out of these two characters. Like, it's so well done and so well written. And I don't always love friends to lovers, but this is friends to lovers done right. Like, it is perfectly executed.
I 100% agree with you. I have long awaited this book because I was introduced to Natasha Madison actually by like a fellow hockey mom. We were talking about books and she's like, oh, you have to read this author, Natasha Madison. And I was like, oh, okay. So I picked up the first book and I was like, oh, I wonder if I'm even going to like it. And then it was like, I went down the rabbit hole of the Something So series and I just couldn't get them fast enough. They were so amazing. So Cooper is the grandson of the original Cooper.
The Cooper OG. So Something So Right is Grandpa Cooper. And then Michael is his dad and Carrie is his mom, and their story is book 2 in the Something So series, Something So Perfect. So if you want to get Cooper's parents and grandparents' story, you can get those in the Something So.
Yeah, and I will say for fans of Cooper and Michael, like Michael is this over-the-top alpha.
Well, he's so
he's so funny in this book. I mean, he's so ridiculous and everyone is just so used to the ridiculousness. They go along with it.
They do. Well, let's talk about Erika first, because with Cooper, like, we have to talk about Cooper and his family. But so Erika, she's this really strong and independent woman. She works with Becca, who is the heroine of book 4. So frickin' Nico and Becca. So she works for Becca and she's an agent in Becca's company. So when Becca and Nico had started having kids, like, she stepped back a little bit. So Erika takes care of like the hockey players. So she has been Cooper's agent since he was drafted
for a long time. And they started off as like agents, but they became best friends and they're like really best friends. I think she did this so perfectly. Like you said, sometimes when they step over that line to be lovers, you're like, ooh, but they really are. It wasn't creepy. Erika is super strong, feisty, driven.
Well, and I think the one thing with this is like they had that professional relationship from the get-go. And then he got married. Like he has a family. He has two adorable little girls who Erika loves, like fawns over, like they love her, like they are so excited to see her anytime she's around, but she has a genuine relationship with his girls. But so he was married, like lived in New York. And I think because of the way the story played out with his relationship with his ex-wife, like is part of the reason it flows the way it does. Because, and plus he was in New York for a lot of it. Like they were able to keep that relationship professional. So he gets traded to Dallas with his family, and then he is blindsided by his terrible ex-wife as he comes off of the ice with divorce papers, and totally, like you said, blindsided. Like he went to work or hockey for him one day, divorce papers, and she's like, don't come back. And he's like, and one of the things about this whole family is very, very important to the Stones and the Grants, but Cooper is at heart a family man. He loves his daughters, and he is an amazing dad, and he really was an amazing husband. He was like, I was in a loveless marriage. I was unhappy, but I was going to stick it out for my girls because they deserved that. And that's the big thing. Like he knew things were not good, but like he was making every effort possible. Like he liked New York. He loved living in New York. Like his family is in New York, but he moved them to Dallas because she hated New York. Like she hated everything about it. And so like he made all of these sacrifices to try and make her happy, but nothing he did was enough. And so like, and then he gets these divorce papers, and he's frustrated and lost, but Erika is there like to help and support and like get him through all these things. So it has been about a year.
Yeah, well, I don't even think it's been a year, but I think she really sees him for like the person he is, and she appreciates him for who he is. Like it's not just because of that he plays hockey or that he has this money. Where I felt like that's where his ex-wife she liked the idea of being married to a hockey player. Yeah. But Erika really genuinely likes Cooper for him.
Well, and one of the things too is like Erika, like Cooper's family love Erika. Like she, like if they're in town or she was in New York, like she was invited to everything. Like his family included her with everything. Like she was an extension of that family. And I think that was one of the things too with the transition, like his family, like they recognized the relationship that they had, because there is one scene like after the tequila happens, like they're all on vacation and he's talking to his dad, and his dad is like, you're a dumbass. like
duh, wake up, Cooper.
Like everybody around him has seen the fact that the two of them care about each other so much and like love each other, but like have not had this like aha moment yet because of like circumstances and situation. But like his dad, like he's like, you're a dumbass. And this is coming from Michael, who was like the most alpha. Like his wife,
dumbass.
kind of a dumbass, but his wife cannot be away from him for more than like a few like minutes without him like freaking out.
No, like, I know, but I will say, like when Cooper and Erika cross the line, like I don't want to ruin anything for anybody, but when they crossed the line, like my Kindle was on fire. It was hot.
It was hot, and it pops, but then it pops a lot.
It doesn't stop.
It does not stop. But I think it's so nice, like the fact that nothing aside from the fact that like they're sleeping together, literally nothing else in their relationship changes. Like, aside from the fact that like she's sleeping in his bed now, because she has spent the night at his house prior to that, like to help with the girls. Like, she has taken his girls to his like hockey games because she wants them to enjoy that and see him like do something that he loves. So like their entire world, like there's only like one shift. And like everything else is exactly so intertwined
in each other's lives that
exactly
it's the sex part that is different for them. And that is like, not to minimize that, because that is a big deal, but like he transitions to it like super easy. You know, he's like, I mean, this was sort of inevitable and we're not giving this part up. And she freaks out.
She does, but I think the thing with her is like, she has so much fear that like she's going to lose out on the relationship she has with him and lose out on the relationships she has with his family and his girls, because she doesn't have a good relationship with her parents anymore. Like when she started making money and being successful, like their relationship kind of went down the shitter. Like, and so she has this fear that the things that she holds really close and dear to her, if something happens, she's going to lose all that. So like you understand her hangups and like her worries, but I just think that they had such an intimacy, like in general, like before they made that step, that it flowed so naturally for them.
Right. I think, and he was even, I don't want to say self-conscious of it, but he was very conscious, because he was like, am I touching her too much? And he's like, well, I realized that I'm actually always constantly touching her, even before we were intimate. So,
and that's something that like his dad and his grandfather and his cousins and like his whole family are like, you do this all the time with her. Like, this is no different than how you ever were before. And so it's just like, they just needed that tequila in that moment in the kitchen.
And his divorce party is hilarious too. Let me just tell you, that is so
really funny. Well, and that's the thing too, like Becca throws him this like giant divorce, or Erika, I keep wanting to say Becca, but Erika throws him this giant divorce party. Like she plans it, she caters, like hires a caterer and like, and all this stuff. And it's just so funny.
Right. Like she's kind of like a bro, but also like,
she's not a bro at all.
But like, but like, she's so close to him, but still girly. Like, I don't know how to explain it.
But she's like that with a lot of the teammates too, like, because they work closely with the Dallas team, because of course, like she's close with Nico. And so like she has this really good camaraderie and relationship with that entire team. And so it's a different dynamic, but they respect her. Like they don't look at her in a sense where like she's just this hot chick who like does work. Like they have a genuine respect for who she is and what she does. And I think that's the biggest thing too, is like she's written as such a strong boss bitch, like because she does her job and she does it well.
Yeah. Okay. So I was thinking about this. Like I feel like if you'll just want to read the Something So series because you want a glimpse into this family, but I mean, you could also read the rest of the Only One, because there's some really good books in that series too, but
there really are.
This isn't so intertwined with the other. There's a few like cameos of other people.
Yeah.
But
that's the thing, like this book, like, yes, it's book 5 in this series, but it holds up on its own. Like if you didn't read any, because I didn't read the Something So series, because I came into her hockey at Only One. And so like, you didn't have to read the Something So, you don't have to read the first Only One series. Like you can come into book 5 and know exactly what's going on and who everybody is, because she gives enough like of an explanation, but it doesn't overpower the story.
Right. And these two are very strong characters, very strong. So they're awesome. I just feel like I don't think we're doing them justice enough, because we don't want to ruin it either. So I just think just go get the book and read it.
Yeah. So let's just talk about the situation towards the end with the ex-wife.
She is crazy.
She's the worst. Like the way that she does that, but honestly, like Becca's reaction and the way she compartmentalizes that, it makes sense. But what I love about that entire situation is the fact that Cooper does not let it happen. Like he's in a situation where like he can't go to her, like he's stuck, like he's doing his thing, like she's doing her thing for the day, but he channels Michael. He channels his dad in this moment and is like, this is not happening. Like this, I'm not okay with this. Like we are figuring this out. Like I'm figuring out like why like my texts and my phone calls are not being answered. And like and I just thought that in itself just speaks to how close those two are, because the fact that like he's never went that long without having some sort of reply. Like even when they were just friends, like there was a moment like when he and his wife, like his ex-wife had first gotten together where they kind of went through a hard patch because his ex-wife did not like Erika, but they figured it out. And Cooper basically like put his foot down and was like, she's my best friend. Like this is, she's my agent. Like this is how it's going to be. And screw you basically. And so like they never have that distance. And so he was not having it.
Right. I mean, he just like bulldozed his way in. Like she was trying to ignore him because she was struggling. The ex-wife,
because of what is said, and you can totally understand why.
Right. And I think too, as a reader, I saw both sides because there are little girls involved and they are not older. They're little, like I think like 4 or 5. And,
they're 4 and 2.
Yeah. I mean, like they're real young. And so they don't understand.
And I think part of it too, though, is like the ex-wife has a decent relationship with the girls. It's not the situation where like she pieces out and wants nothing to do with her kids. Like they have a really good custody agreement. Like they work things out, like for the most part. And I think that is, I think the driving factor for Erika and the way that she reacts to what the ex-wife says. I can't even like tell you what the ex-wife name is because that's how much I disliked her.
I don't either.
But I think if that situation was different and like the girls weren't excited to see her and the girls like cried every time they had to go there, it would have been a different reaction. But because the girls have a good relationship with their mom and like Cooper, it's not a bad situation. It just is not the best. So I think if that was tweaked differently, then her reaction would be different because
right. The mom isn't a bat. She's not a deadbeat. She actually likes her kids. She's going to be involved. It just, I think they were young when they got together and they maybe they were together for the wrong reasons. Basically, as it comes down to. And
I think you're right too. Like she had this ideal, like he's an NHL hockey player. Like this is the lifestyle I can have. And it's not all like unicorns and rainbows. Like,
no, it's super interesting that because I was on TikTok and there's an NHL wife I came across. She actually sings. I don't know. And she was like, I have people ask me all the time, like, do I travel with my husband since we don't have kids? And she goes, my husband has like 47 away games. Like we would have no semblance of normalcy if I traveled with him. She's like, I stay home and watch him, but I like hold down the fort. And I think sometimes probably people think it's glamorous, but there's a lot of things like I have friends whose husbands travel not nearly as much as a hockey player does.
Yeah.
And it is a lot of work. I mean, you're like doing things on your own a lot.
Well, and when there's kids involved, like it adds a whole new dynamic. And it's tough. Like it's tough on them. It's tough on you. It's tough on everybody. Like that travel is just, but it's part of the job. And it's like, you have to be willing to adapt and learn and figure out like what works best. And some people, they just can't. But I just think that whole situation, the way it plays out is just perfect.
Yep. It's a great book. Okay. So we obviously really liked it.
Yes.
Who's going to like this book? I think people that really like a close family series or it's romance. If you love friends to lovers and low angst.
Yes.
This isn't a very angsty book.
Yeah. And that's the one thing, like Natasha Madison, she kind of flows between the two. Like sometimes she's high, sometimes she's low, but this is pretty low angst. Like, and like, if you like a family series, like, and family is a huge part of the series. Cause like Cooper, like that, like he wanted to play in the NHL and he wanted to have a family. Like those were his goals in life. And yeah, I love this book. So would you recommend this book?
Yeah. I mean, I have. I don't know how many times I can shout it from the rooftops. You should pick this book up.
I know it is new. It's new, but I think I've recommended to like everybody I talk to is like, I need a new book. I'm like, well, you need to do this, and this. Like, these are the ones you need to read.
Well, and I even got my paperback in the mail. It's so pretty.
It is so pretty.
Oh my gosh.
It is a pretty paperback.
So pretty. It's like that matte cover. I love it. And then like the pages. I mean, because I know this is online. So there's like hockey players.
She did some inside artwork this time. That's nice. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Heather, for joining me on this quick shot of romance.
Anytime. I love talking about books.
Well, hockey books at that.
Right? There's so many good ones coming out too, you guys. Oh my gosh.
There are, and we will be talking about so many of them. But until next time, everybody, happy reading.
Find us on Instagram at Buzzing About Romance or on Twitter at Buzzing Romance. If you like the podcast, please leave a review. If you'd like to support us directly, join the Bookcase and Coffee Patreon and receive exclusive content only available to Patreon members. Check out bookcaseandcoffee.com for our on-the-shelf show notes.